Hello everybody and welcome back to the KCM. We had a week off. Feels like it's been a while, but we're back. Season 4 here, starting off right before the ASL finals. Be kicking things off with Hero versus Mini. An incredibly balanced lineup this week, and I don't really agree with the online sentiment that Zerg is overly favored here. I think that all of the players are, frankly, pretty great, and the fact that we don't have any like massive standouts, I think should lead us to a pretty awesome week of KCM.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see happening where it wouldn't be that way is if somehow Hero and Queen bounce back from their slightly subpar performance recently. If Hero isn't playing as sharp as he once was still, I think this is going to be hard for Zerg to just stomp it out. It does look very balanced. I mean, Best and Mini are going to be really strong pillars for that Protoss squad, and Speed like Barracks is a very strong lineup for Terran as well. So I actually really like maybe Terran getting some early points on the board here. This is one of the better weeks we've had, I would say, in terms of KCM's recent history and balance.
Yeah, this should be strong. This should be solid. I would expect a lower ranking for the Zerg. I don't see Hero performing recently. I don't see Queen performing recently. Jaedong has had some days where he's really stepped up to the plate, but Best, Mini, such Zerg killers. Barracks, also a crazy Zerg killer. Light and Speed have awesome TVZ as well. It's going to be a hard 1 week for Zerg if they do manage to pull it out, and even Terran getting to sit out game number 1 gives them a bit of a better chance of going all the way. Mini here, getting the scout in, will force the drone over to the third for that second hatchery, and he sees the overpull now, can prepare for it accordingly.
And interestingly enough, Mini going for Forge Expand here. He's usually more of a Gateway Expand kind of guy. He only really goes for Forge Expand if he intends to potentially Cannon Rush. I don't know if that was the thought process here, where if Hero was to be hyper greedy with like a 9 hatch or 11 hatch or something, but it's so rare to go for hatchery first on 2-player maps. There was a period where 9 hatch was popular on Butter, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think Screaming Sea, actually, some players are trying to get away with that early hatch.
Longer rush distance though, right?
Yeah, still a 2-player map, but with that super long rush distance, very greedy macro play has become fashionable. I think we might be seeing Hero try to sneak around the back and slip some Lings over, since it is a Forge Expand on this map. I mean, you can go around. Oh, Ling's going the wrong direction. A little bit of rough there. But there's not going to be a Zealot for quite a bit of time. Hero still has a little bit of a moment here where he could get in with 3 Lings and do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, it is a little bit tricky to actually get these Zerglings over. You can see even with just 1, he's having a hard time. Zealots and Vultures and Dragoons, all much easier to do this trick with. Zergling's the hardest thing to do this with in the game, unless it was something like a Ghost as well. Probe Scout in the nick of time going to be identifying this and help mitigate too much damage coming out as a result. He's only got 2 in so far. But like you say, the Zealot's not going to be here for a little bit longer. It's just now popped out, I think. So he might get into the main base and kill a probe or 2.
Wasn't able to do the 3rd Ling, just going to give up on that. It's too much APM to keep constantly trying to hop these Lings over. We've seen some players get multiple Lings over in one go, and if he had done that, maybe you could get more damage here, but it looks like Mini is ready to start mitigating that with the Zealot. Plus, just some good micro with the probes. This is still a problem, and it's still giving Hero a good opportunity to just scout everything. He can start to pull his Overlords back and that sort of thing, just knowing that he has all the information. Doesn't look like there's going to be any kills going on, though, and in fact, this Zealot is out on the map. Are there any more Lings popping out here for Hero? He is furiously microing here, but he actually loses the Ling in the main base as well.
Yeah, this is not looking great for Hero. I mean, he's hidden the lair over at the third base location, but he's kind of bungled his early game micro. That's a nice pick for him there, though. Killing that probe does take a lot more of the sting away out of the Zealot, as well as future scouting information, but great scout for Mini as well, identifying that it is actually going to be a lair and not going to be anything crazy like a 4-hatch Hydra or a hidden 3-hatch Hydra build as well. He could have built the den over here, for example, and be trying to put on a lot of pressure right now, but now Mini knows that's not the case. A Dragoon actually came out onto the map here. Needs to be careful that doesn't get gobbled up by some Zerglings. It's a bit of an investment to go for a Dragoon, but I mean, it seems like Mini's been trading well enough that there's not too much of a risk of being absolutely swarmed by Hero just yet. But this is a nice catch on the Zealot.
Yeah, getting rid of that Zealot is nice. If there's another group of Lings here, maybe the Dragoon would fall as well, but seems that that Dragoon will be able to get back home. Mini always with kind of a funky set of units, trying to get some stuff done. Hydrogen and Spire. You know, I've seen this before. Soma versus Snow in Pro League, which I watched on stream recently. He went for both of these techs, but he had a hidden layer so that the Protoss player only saw Snow, only saw a Hydra, and then he suddenly got swarmed by Mutas. I wonder what the plan is here for Hero. Is he just going to go for Hydras suddenly, just one big Hydra bus with a couple of Scourge to try and scare Mini into thinking that it's just going to be a Muta play? He sees the Hydra now. Okay, everything is revealed now. I'm not sure how this one plays out.
Yeah, I mean, he has got a second guess, so he probably will at least make a few pairs of Scourge no matter what. The question is, does he do something really crazy and like rush into Lurkers, or does he just commit to like an Air Force and go for that Muta Scourge play? We've seen that a lot. It's not that common in the meta to rush into Lurkers. It can work out sometimes if you catch your opponent off guard and you have a lot of Lurkers out ahead of schedule. In this case, I have to imagine it's going to be, you know, a few Mutas to stop the Protoss player coming out onto the map. He's actually got 2 Scourge camping on the Stargate. If he can kill a Corsair before that cannon finishes up, that'd be huge.
Best course of action, probably just to cancel that Corsair if it was about to finish and restart that, but it seems like Mini, not needing to do that sort of emergency play, will just have the Corsair come out, and as they combine, kill off those 2 Scourge. Mini, always a threat, man. You never know exactly when he's going to attack, because he tends to attack with these small groups of units that don't seem to be a real threat, but then suddenly when they appear at a kind of an inconvenient time for the Zerg, they create a lot of problems, and here he comes now with that sort of special forces group of 5 Zealots, 1 Dragoon, and 5 Corsairs. Is Hero ready to handle this? He's got a pretty good group of Hydras. He's starting to press forward. He went for Hydra speed. He should have range on the way here now as well. Scourge not able to connect, and Corsair still dominating in the air, but Hero's pushing up towards this natural. There's only 2 cannons with a 3rd one warping in. Mini definitely feeling the pressure right now.
Ooh, I mean, Hydra is really good against this ground army of Mini, so yeah, he should be able to easily thwart this small contingency that's out on the map. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit of problems now for Mini. He's gonna be knocking on the gates, and I don't think Storm is ready. He even kills a Corsair. Like, the only thing that's going for him is that he has this Dark Templar, but he's escorted an Overlord over here successfully. The Dark Templar does manage to get out onto the map to put on some counter pressure, but looks like he's diving onto the cannons right now. There is a High Templar up, but I don't think Storm Energy's just yet finished. It should be finishing up here in a few seconds, but I don't know if it's going to be done in time. He's going to take a lot of damage. Dark Templar coming back now to help clean up on aisle 5 against those Hydra units. It does seem like Hero got supply blocked during all of that, so maybe it's not going to be as bad for Mini initially as we thought.
Yeah, he managed to buy the time in there. The dive was a little bit ill-conceived from Hero, trying to go all the way in to kill those cannons. Did not work out for him, and now there should be energy for this storm. There's the big storm on all the Hydras. These Overlords that were sent to top left, you can see it was a pretty reasonable idea there from Hero to just get into, get some Overlords across the map so that Mini couldn't deny him from having any vision there at the front. It's worked out okay, but he can't break through here, and he's taking damage to this DT. He managed to clear that up now, and there's not really many overlords going down, so he's going to stabilize, build a bunch of drones here, and try to take this into a longer game. But Mini is going to have a really big timing. Losing that High Templar is pretty bad, but he's going to be able to make so many High Templar here soon, Shun. Like, the amount that you can make on Litmus with those 3 gases is kind of crazy.
Right. Oh yeah, no, he can definitely make a lot. He has lost a little bit of tempo with that Templar falling, but will easily be able to replenish a pretty high count of those. You generally speaking want to try and get a total of 8, where you've got like 6 with your army and 2 back at home, waiting for the next round of units to head out. And he'll easily be able to fill that and more with lots of Dragoons in support of that as well. And for the time being, though, I think Hero will be able to keep Mini on his side of the map. There's a couple of DTs moving out right now. I have no idea how well set up back at home Hero is, and he hasn't necessarily played amazing this game, but he does look a little bit more solid than some of his previous performances.
Ooh, a shuttle coming out right now is pretty scary. We'll see if Mini can get around this army. He catches a couple of Scourge, and this shuttle's going to slip by right in the edge of the vision here. Looks like that's going to head over towards the main. He's probably going to pick up those 2 DTs, possibly with some High Templar there in the shuttle as well. This could be devastating.
Oh, this could be crazy amounts of damage that we're about to see. There's probably a High Templar in that shuttle already, and he's scooping up 2 additional High DTs to go into the main with Corsair support as well. And the Hydras are having a hard time getting back to defend. There's like egg blocking in the Sim City. She's just delayed these Hydras from getting to the main. There's no Overlord already in position here, and the Corsairs are waiting on the periphery to come in and kill an Overlord if he uses one to detect these DTs as well. If he only brings 1 single Overlord down to deal with this, could be problematic. The Corsairs could pounce on that. He's not going to get the Spire, so he will clean this up pretty cost efficiently, and he has got some Hydras protecting the Overlords nearby as well, so it doesn't look like Hero's taking too much damage, but he did lose a lot of drones then.
Let's see if he's on top of it to actually go and check for that shuttle, because the shuttle's just sitting over there on the right-hand side, Shun. Definitely want to bring some Scourge over there and try to pick. He just flew right past. Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. I think he sees it. I think he sees it.
Yeah, he's got
it. He's got it. Okay. If there was a High Templar in there, that could have become massive. We're just looking at the mini map right now. The observer kind of missed it there, but Mini Shuttle has been dealt with. Hero, he's lost a lot of drones, but he still has a reasonable economy here to try and fight. It's just without Mutas to try and snipe High Templar, it's going to be very hard to take on this super heavy storm-based army.
Yeah, I mean, fighting in these tight corridors especially, it's going to be super easy for Mini to now establish his 3rd base, which he's going to do so. I'm hoping that Hero has some lurkers on the way soon. He can't just stay on Battle Zerg mode with pure Hydra. Like, you need at least some kind of lurker support if you're not going to be rushing into Hive. Even if you are rushing into Hive, you still want those lurkers. And yeah, we don't see either of those things for the time being. Looks like he just wants to try and see if he can overwhelm Mini by outmaneuvering him with these Hydras, and I think that is definitely not ideal for Hero, to say the least. I feel like Mini will absolutely destroy him if he tries to stay so Hydra-centric.
There's definitely that possibility. Mini goes around the left-hand side here as well. Gonna put a lot of pressure onto this 4th base drop being loaded up right here, but there's a huge army between him and the main of Mini, so if he tries to fly forward right now, he ends up getting caught by these Corsairs. He's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Corsairs moving into the main right now as the Zealots deny that 4th. The Corsairs are out of position to block this drop. Let's see where Hero actually wants to go with this. This is such a risky play, Shun. It could pay off massively or it could absolutely backfire, and it looks like it's about to backfire here. Okay, he avoids the Corsairs. No way. I thought the Mini would pick up on that for sure.
Yeah, he luckily doesn't just like lose all of his overlords that are filled with Hydras, but he has been denied his 4th base. Mini had a small auxiliary force of Zealots, which have shut down. Looks like there was a lurker drop attempt in the natural expansion of Mini as well. I'm not sure if he killed a lot of probes with that or he transferred most of them into the main, but he did have an Overlord swing by into that natural expansion to kill some probes with some lurkers. He's going to attempt to see if he can catch any of these High Templars that are out on the periphery, but it looks like Mini's got his army together well enough that that will not be coming to pass, and he's going to have a hard time doom dropping Mini. Mini's scouting the army movements of Hero pretty effectively. So, yeah, Mini's going to get away with third base for free, and Hero has not expanded. Like, he got denied his fourth base, so I don't know what his plan is now.
Mini is on high alert right now, but he doesn't see these overlords heading over to the top center. He's going to drop in this really tight corridor. No, it's not. There's a lot of Hydras. He is going to bring up lurkers to the front, try to set up while the army is running back into the main to try and deal with this. It's not a fake, but it is definitely a bait.
Kind of, yeah, exactly that. It's like a double bluff. Like, he's making it look like he's going to drop into the main, but really he just wants to pull the army back and bait Mini out of position so we can drive a wedge between the third and the natural. But all those lurkers are so clumped up. So, oh, that's another monstrous storm on that bottom of the ramp as well at the 12 o'clock position. I mean, I kind of like the idea from Hero, but this execution is not it. Like, those lurkers were too stacked up, and he is just bleeding so many units to the Sonic Storm of Mini that eventually he's just going to get out-traded.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a fourth behind this, so this was really required to do some serious damage, and it hasn't done so. Mini is massive now. He's got the Storms to continue to fight on here. The one problem for Mini right now is that those gases are running dry. We're at the 16-minute mark. Both of the gases in the main and maybe the gas at the natural could be running dry here, and so he will be pumping out less High Templars. He's still got that third gas, but things will start to run out here for Mini for sure. Hero, his third base is a full gas geyser, 5,000 gas in there, so he's going to be able to continue to pump lurkers for the moment. Let's see if Mini can take advantage of this burst of energy here before he starts to run dry.
Well, not only that, but Hero's only just now started to make his second extractor in his main base, so we'll have a lot more gas coming in from that to boot. Overall, there'll be a massive gas advantage for Hero. The question is, can he leverage that into an advantageous position in the next few minutes? I don't know if the answer is yes to that, because he's just not traded so cost efficiently with Mini. He hasn't got the Hive Tech on the way, and oh my gosh, those Overlords are going to get absolutely eviscerated. I don't even know what he's trying to do with those Overlords. Oh my god, he's losing so many of them as well. There's a massive lurker field here, so Mini will have to pull back, but he's, you know, stopping any more advancement from Hero and expanding further over to that right-hand side, and looks like he's now got enough forces mustered that he can start ripping through these lurker lines as well. Hero's in a lot of trouble. He's got a lot of Hydras that are out on the northern hemisphere, maybe thinking about some kind of attack, but now he's going to have to pull back everything. Has got technically a surround on Mini's army, but there's more than enough still available to Mini to just pull back and not really be out-traded. The one thing a Hero's got going for him is that he's sniping these High Templars at the rally point, but I don't think that's enough right now.
Yeah, I'm so confused about Hero. You know, there's 4 Zealots that went to the 4th base, and then he took like 2 or 3 groups of Hydras and chased them all the way around the left-hand side of the map, all the way up and around the back, and it was like he just thought that Mini wouldn't attack him. Instead, Mini comes up to the lurker field and just kills nearly every lurker. This is looking really bad for Hero now. Like, he is super far behind in supply, and Mini's army is nasty. He's got so many Storms available. He's got Archons. He's got a huge contingent of Dragoons, that critical mass that you need just an insane amount to be able to deal with. And now he's even going to break through these temples and try to come from an angle where Hero is not ready for, he's not set up for. It's going to be hard for him to get into position in time to stop this. Will Mini be able to bowl him over on this 4th base?
Well, he's only got like 3 or 4 high Templars here. I'm not sure how much energy they've got remaining. Looks like they actually have quite a lot of Storms still in reserve. So, yeah, this is a very potent army. 2 control groups of Dragoons is like the perfect threshold. There's not so many that it forces your army to get all clumped up and is quite unwieldy. And it's enough firepower still to lay siege to the Zerg and skirmish and trade effectively like this. And he's going to lose his 4th base again. I mean, there's just not much counterplay available to Hero with this game plan, and unfortunately he's still technically in a bit of a slump. He's played a little bit better today than some of the games we've seen of him previously, but this is still not it. This is still not the Hero that we used to know a short time ago, unfortunately. Like, he is still having a hard time keeping up with some of these other guys. Lots of forces streaming across the map now for Mini to try and keep hammering in more and more coffin nails into Hero, and I don't know if there's an answer for it.
No, there's no answer that Hero can come up with at this point. Everything he's tried has failed, and is just leaning into the Zerg, waiting for that tap out as all the storms come down. My goodness, the damage here from Mini is crazy. He's even taking a base over at that center right behind everything while putting on all this pressure, and Hero continues to drop, and indeed he does continue to slump here in the KCM.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to see. I mean, Hero's been one of my favorite Zergs for a long time, but he just hasn't been performing lately. I don't know what it is. Hopefully he can figure it out, go back to the lab and get it all sorted out. But I mean, that's another massive storm as well, killing all those drones. That's basically it now for Hero. There is no comeback miracles that can occur after losing this much economy. But yeah, I mean, Flash said it best. Like, Hero was Mr. Consistent. He was always able to perform, and he just hasn't been able to recently. I don't know what is going on his side of the pond to make him be having these issues, because he went from being one of the most consistent Zergs in the world to one of the biggest slumping Zergs in the world. So there's either something going on in his mentality or his motivation or some kind of drama. I don't know what it is, but he needs to figure it out for sure.
All right, it's a bit sad to see Hero slumping in such a manner, but everyone goes through ups and downs, especially when it comes to Brood War. It's one of the, if not the hardest game in the entire world, and
Absolutely.
if your head is not 100% in the game, there's something else going on in your life. It's definitely understandable to go through times of difficulty, and it seems like that time is now for Hero. Previously, I mean, Queen had a very long period of slumping. He's making a comeback. We'll see how he's doing today. I'm hoping that he's making a good comeback as well.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to have to watch this TVP, and honestly, I'm excited about it. Mini versus Light historically has been awesome, and it's going to be played here on Metropolis.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game. Although these spawns are not good for Light at all, unless he does some kind of 5-6 factory push timing and then expands behind it and kind of defends while attacking on that vertical axis. It's really hard to make spawns like this work for Terran in terms of securing that 3rd base. You can see the 3 o'clock base is towards Mini. Generally speaking, you don't want to expand towards the Protoss like this. He'd much rather the spawns be flipped in that regard, and the Protoss was the one having to expand awkwardly against the Terran to make his push timings even sharper. It is what it is. It doesn't mean you can't win still. It just means you have to kind of adapt and figure out slightly different timings on when to push, when to take that 3rd base. But it will make it a little bit more awkward here for Light.
Oh, the overwhelmingly popular build right now for the Terrans as of late has been really fast 6 and 7 factory pushes with a super late +2, like almost not even getting that until after a 3rd and potentially even a 4th base, if it comes to that. It's like that's not even on the radar when it comes to TVP right now. Most players have fully switched over from that old style of just getting, upgrade mech as
Right.
quickly as possible to now just massing up units as much as possible and just pushing out very hard and putting on a lot of pressure against Protoss. We'll see if that's what Light wants to emulate here. But I think you're right about the map. This is maybe the only way to play in spawns like what we see today.
Yeah, we see an early Zealot pressure here from Mini, but Light's pretty adept at handling this kind of early game shenanigans. He's got an SCV already pulled to stop any surface area being ascertained, and he runs down the ramp now, knowing that there's no second Zealot to contend with. But there is a Dragoon. A Dragoon and a Zealot can cause a little bit of a headache, but with the Vulture showing up, you're pretty safe still, even without a bunker here. And he should be able to be okay against this. I mean, there is a way of the Protoss shaving off a Marine or two here, but as long as you target fire appropriately, you should be okay. Like, he's going to lose 3 Marines, actually. It's a pretty big amount. And the bunker should just barely finish before the Marine dies. So it's not terrible, but it's not good either.
Yeah, this is rough. He can dive. He can dive the Vulture. Running up the ramp is the right choice. Just a couple of missed shots will cause that Dragoon to take a lot of damage, and so Light avoids disaster here. He has to make another Marine. It's definitely not ideal, but he will hang on, and this game will continue. CC timing, not too bad here compared to the Nexus timing that Mini has for himself. Robo on the way here, and Mini, we'll see what his game plan is to follow this up, but I'm assuming a Reaver. It's just so powerful on this map to drop Reavers over at that center right base and just hold that high ground, prevent the Terran player from ever getting that third base easily.
Right, I mean, on paper, Terran is advantaged right now. It just comes down to execution a lot and how the Protoss, will follow this up, and sometimes it's common for the Terran to get cocky as well. Like, you saw Light come out with his tank just now. There's a lot of times where Protoss players will do this kind of push still, and they'll end up losing the tank during this push. So as long as he can avoid anything like that, and he's actually caught the low HP Dragoon already, doing some shift mine laying to try and get some forward positioning. Oh, he does manage to clear that without the use of an observer, so it's a nice catch from Mini, but these mines being laid in the back line are going to be really annoying. See, to kill some probes and force Dragoons to cross the minefield and take a lot of damage. That Vulture is so cost efficient. 5 kills on that. That's crazy for an early game Vulture. And now look at the miss. Oh, these mine connections are huge, Saiyan! I think Light's about to win the game. Mini has to tap out. That's a really seriously impressive push from Light. Oh my days.
Wow, a seriously sick quick finisher there from Light versus Mini. I had to go back and just rewatch that replay in between games to see how exactly the Vulture slipped by, but Mini missed it by inches as he was scouting with those Dragoons. Just barely didn't see that going around, and things fell apart very quickly for Mini from that point on. Light now over here in the top right versus Jaedong in the top left, and this is the guy that we're looking to for that Zerg lineup to kind of carry the squad here, where Hero has fallen by the wayside and Queen maybe is still underperforming as well.
Yeah, I think Queen is still not going to be playing out of his mind. I mean, he might be playing a little bit better, maybe not quite as poorly as Hero, but not enough. I feel like Jaedong is going to be the one that needs to carry the torch for the Zerg lineup. And I think we were right in our assessment that the audience or whoever was voting for Zerg being that favorited in the percentages are absolutely bonkers out of their minds, because this is a very balanced week of KCM, and this Terran and Protoss squad is more than capable of going all the way.
Oh, for sure. I think that Stork stands a good chance of doing well this week, is also because we might see Jaedong or Light take down Jaedong, and then Stork, still a very considerable player when it comes to PvT. Can pull out some very good, strong Reaver control and carrier builds for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he can get stuff done with that. I've seen him beat a lot of strong Terran players on the ladder with these builds even recently. But for now, Jaedong versus Light, looking like a two hatchery play from Jaedong, the SCV here in the main, just checking out everything, trying to build as few lings as possible, not really saving any larva right now. Jaedong confident that he's not going to be under pressure, and Light indeed just opting for that faster CC and not going to be sending out really fast Marines here to try and force a drone off the line or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Light and Jaedong line up. I mean, it's the dad of Terran versus the old Tyrant, and both of these guys have played countless games against one another a long time ago, and I have no idea how they stack up right now. Jaedong was playing a bit out of his mind recently. I'm not sure if he's still practicing as hard as he was previously during his run of ASL or what have you, but certainly has been performing way above and beyond our expectations of him in recent weeks of the KCM in Season 3. So I can imagine we'll see at least similarly pretty potent performance from him. Maybe not quite as dramatic, but we'll probably take the fight to Light here in a big way.
They're like going to be opening with a 2-Rax play. The Stim Rush, not as common as of late. It's just, SCV managing to survive. He brought 2 drones to try and stop that, to try and shut that down. Doesn't end up working for him, but he will track it down behind the mineral patches now. Finally getting rid of that SCV and stopping the scouting information of Light, hiding the fact that he's building quite a few lings here, along with this 3rd hatchery, the 2.5 hatchery play from Jaedong. We'll see if it ends up working out for him, because Light is going to come over here pretty quickly and threaten the bust, which will force multiple Sunkens to be made from Jaedong. It's very close rush distance here on Radion on horizontal spawns.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a really good scout from Light, because when you see the Zerg take the 2nd gas, can really tip you off that it's definitely going to be mutas as opposed to like a lurker, early lurker play. Like, you usually will take that gas a little bit quicker if you're going for a really fast 2-hatch lurker, for example. So seeing at that timing, Light knows what he's up against and knows when best to move out. He's going to start to threaten now, but he's left a little bit of units back behind to prevent any kind of counterattack shenanigans from Jaedong. So Jaedong will have to make 2 Sunkens to respect this, so he will sandbag the economy of Jaedong ever so slightly here, and then we'll have to start making turrets in just a few seconds to be on curve with these mutas coming his way. But honestly, like, these positions are really good for Jaedong. Like, having horizontal spawns like this, especially with this dead zone area at the 12 o'clock, like, it's so easy to apply pressure to the Terran with mutas in this situation and have such a direct access to their natural expansion without much flight time.
Yeah, I thought it would be tempting for Light to try a Valkyrie build. They have been so popular recently, but going for this kind of older style, the tried and true 2-Rax plus no +1, just straight into Stim. That was a little rough. Losing the first Mutalist there definitely hurts for Jaedong. He is gonna have a hard time fighting this Bile Ball, which is quite powerful at this moment.
Yeah, it's what a lot of newer viewers to StarCraft don't quite understand, is it's not about the fact that he lost 1 Mutalisk, it's that he's lost his tempo. He doesn't have the kind of air superiority that he needs to really control the pace of the game anymore. And these mutas are all about harassment and map control, so taking the wind out of the Zerg sails makes it a lot more tricky for the Terran to navigate. He's going to dive into the main base, though. Ignore that 1 turret on the south end of that mineral line. There are some Marines here to respond to this, but he will lose a pretty sizable amount of SCVs, and unfortunately for Light, he's kind of gambling by just sending all of his Marines down to the expected 3rd base location, and he's kind of playing into Jaedong's hands just a little bit here, because he's losing so many SCVs, and he's not getting anything done with his bioforces right now.
Yeah, I think that Light believes Jaedong is on 2 hatch. He's on 2 hatch with a 3rd hatch somewhere out on the map, but it's actually 2.5 hatch here for Jaedong. He can sit here and just produce with no expansion for quite some time before really being forced to take this 3rd base, and it looks like he's gonna slip a drone out on the map now. He's definitely done enough harassment to slow down Light and make it so it doesn't really matter that he has a slower 3rd base.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this game was going to go a little bit more iffy for Jaedong, but with how many SCVs he's killed, it's insane. He's actually eclipsing the supply of Light right now. Light has definitely blundered in a big way in this game, and he's really gambled on trying to catch the 3rd base of Jaedong and get that win condition, but Jaedong didn't even go for something like that, and he's actually metagaming Light in a big way, and this is kind of the problem with a lot of modern Terrans that haven't quite fully adjusted. A lot of these old Terrans that haven't fully adjusted to the modern style. You can't really just roll the dice anymore. You kind of need to confirm where that 3rd base is before setting up a game plan. If you try and metagame the Zerg too much, this is going to happen. Now you've got all these bioforces out on the map that are accomplishing nothing, saying, while he's losing all of his economy back at home.
Yeah, he's continuously losing SCVs, and he's losing control of this natural, more importantly. All of the turrets here have been killed, and Bio has been brought back to just kind of sit in this mineral line still. Some of the Marines are going to slide around the backside. Some of them are going to be out of position. Jaedong can continue to get value here. If he had hidden that drone, I would have been loving this position here for Jaedong. He didn't hide the drone, however, so he'll probably end up having to take the 3rd at a less than optimal place, maybe, you know, center left. The closest 3rd base, that might end up having to be Jaedong's 3rd, but he might just win straight up with just mutas right now, because Light is having such a struggle transitioning, getting a vessel out while keeping up his number of Marines. He's just so low on SCVs, he can't make turrets, build Marines, build SCVs, and get this vessel all at the same time. He's just not mining.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of would have liked Jaedong to take a hidden 3rd base and like take 6 o'clock or something. I don't think Light would scout 6 o'clock for a very long time, and he might even be able to have Nidus Canal set up before Light even realizes that's where it's going to be. Looks like Jaedong was actually thinking about taking the cross-map position with his drone. Light just barely going to catch wind of that, but mutas are moving into position to stop that snipe from coming down. He's going to lose potentially all of his bioforces. He will kill the drone down there in that corner, but all of these bioforces are destined to die. Jaedong's got so many Mutalisks as well. Like, he overmade them. He didn't just go up to 11 and call it a day. He's made like 1.5 control groups worth of mutas, so they can keep cycling out weakened mutas and ones that die. So he's always got a potent force out on the map to fight with. Another drone coming down here into this quadrant of the map to finally expand. He's got the lurkers in morph as well. He's going to double expand in the bottom right and the bottom left, it looks like, or at least make Light have to, you know, choose one of those bases to kill, and then the other one lives. So it doesn't really matter what happens now. Jaedong should be in a really strong commanding position.
If he can surround and kill this Bioforce, Light is going to be just about out of luck. His economy has been so ravaged that it's going to be very hard for him to remake this army. Very good target fire on a bunch of these lurkers. 2 of the lurkers go down immediately. Muta's here not going to trade the best with this Bioforce coming up from behind, but he's just committing onto everything, and with enough forces, going to absolutely wipe this clean. Light going to lose the vessel as well, and with it, I think his hopes of taking this game home have just been dashed. Jaedong does have to cancel bottom left, but he's still got bottom right.
I mean, that was such a good trade for Jaedong. It shouldn't have necessarily gone down like that, but there's not enough tempo in this game for Light. He's now starting to set up a contain. If Zerg gets like 4 lurkers outside your base as Terran and you haven't already got tanks, you're in trouble, son. And he's gonna have to wait for Irradiates to break out of his base cost efficiently at this rate, and he might even just get checkmate moved with the Defiler coming across the map. He's gonna have to intercept that before it gets downtown. down. And there's not really a lot of counterplay available to Light with how bad this early mid-game transition has gone for him. I thought early on that this was going to be a really close game between these two guys, but Jaedong is completely out-metagamed Light in this match, and there's not a lot that Light can do to come back in it at the moment.
Even though the third base is this late, Jaedong definitely out-mining Light with the number of SCVs has been able to kill. Targeting down the lurker is pretty good, but the Defiler's on the way right now. It's coming, and it's making its way to the front. Lings are going to be under Dark Swarm here, and more lurkers are coming forward. You don't necessarily need a third base if you've got Defilers at your opponent's natural, and you're able to get lurkers there underneath them. Diving on top of a couple of these vessels. Looks like he won't get either. Dark Swarm finally comes down here, and he will place another one even closer. Lurkers burrowing here. Can he kill this one Defiler? The Defiler goes down. Nice snipe there.
Okay.
But is there a Defiler underneath this Dark Swarm, or is it dead? It looks like it died. He's barely hanging on, but this is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, the one underneath got irradiated, so he has technically stopped a threat for the time being. He's even got some mines that are now being laid, but this is still not dealt with. There's more and more Defilers coming across the map, and he will continue to pursue an early win condition against Light. The third gas is now being mined from Jaedong as well. That's another 300 gas a minute that he can use to try and hammer in some more nails into Light's coffin. This is suboptimal to say the least. You can do this with 2 bases worth of economy. Now Jaedong's going to have 3 gases coming in to help finish this off. There's not a lot of counterplay here for Light. He's got a few irradiates to work with, but there should be enough stream of Zerg units that Light will have to call this a day. It's unfortunate. I thought we were going to be seeing a bit more of a closer match between these two guys, but Jaedong has been playing out of his mind.
Where are these SCVs going? They're going on a little bit of a ride here. Gonna head over towards that center left base, I guess. Better than just running through the lurkers and all dying, I guess. Maybe if he clears this, you'll have some SCVs to bring back home and mine from that natural, but I don't think that's very likely. You need a lot of irradiates to cut through this, and with that third gas online, it's not like he's just gonna easily take care of this. And yeah, he will get rid of one of these lurkers, but there's just not enough irradiate here to eventually finish this off. All the SCVs die. Jaedong closing in on the victory.
Yeah, I mean, he could even scourge the CC. That'd be pretty hilarious. I'm not sure what HP it's on right now, but a Queen or a Scourge on that CC would be a really hilarious way for Jaedong to wrap this game up. But he's not going to BM Light in that way. He's going to clean up this game in a much more traditional fashion, just leapfrogging Cheeto dust clouds towards that Terran production line and just keep leaning on Light over and over again. There shouldn't be enough irradiate to turn this around. There is sometimes situations where Terran can come back from these positions, but it does kind of rely on the Zerg making major blunders, and I don't think we're going to be seeing that here from Jaedong. He's very tentatively pushing up into this, and he is making lots of rounds of Firebats to try and counteract this. This is a great move from Light. Mass round of Firebats with D-Matrix, for example, can clear this out if there's not that many lurkers, but even if he does kill all these lurkers here, which I think he actually will, there'll be a few more units coming, you know, in short order behind that to finish the job, and there's just so much army for Jaedong to keep rallying down here that even when he does clear out the few lurkers in position, there's plenty more, as you can see on screen now, going to be coming soon after.
Jaedong's no slouch as well. He's getting a 4th base up behind this, preparing for the next stage of the game. If somehow, some way, Light manages to get his natural mining once again, it's still going to be a very tough spot. So although Light has managed to survive, and you really got to give him credit for staying alive in such a difficult spot. The situation is such that even if this breakout happens, it's going to be hard for him to win, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to break out here. Just too many lurkers, too many Hydras, and now some vessels going down as well. There goes the last Marine, and Light will not be able to get out of this base, out of this chokehold.
Yeah, but you gotta take your hat off to Light. Like, he's coming so close to maybe turning the game around and finding a little bit of a wedge to drive back the tempo in his favor. He came so close there when he just tried to break out a few moments ago. It's a shame because, like, he's just short of a cigar from having an actual comeback picture in the works, and it's a shame because, I mean, even though Jaedong's playing so well, Light is coming close to actually turning it around. But yeah, it does look like still Jaedong will eventually win. It's just a monstrous play to make the efforts of Light even more challenging now. Technically, though, Light has fought back, but with the 4 bases of Jaedong, this is going to get more and more complicated for Light the longer this goes on. But he's going to at least have a punt at it and see if he can find some kind of comeback window to exploit.
Yeah, if there'd been any slouch from Jaedong, if he'd slowed down at all, I think that Light would have punched out of the base and potentially threatened this bottom right. And he is getting down here now, but the army is so small and it's already been plagued once. So there's going to be very little energy on these medics, if any at all. And so just Lings could potentially clear this up, but Jaedong going to catch the rally coming across the map. He's going to prevent that rally from getting in cleanly to assist. And I guess some of this will survive. It looks like it will, at least. Scourge are going to go down. No connections on these vessels. That's pretty good for Light. Is there some way that he could bring this back? Maybe a drop heading in while he's trying to bust in bottom right? I'm not sure, though. Jaedong has so much vision on the map. He's just everywhere at once right now, and he's almost unbreakable here with a supply lead and a worker lead. Like, everything is going in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good for Light, but he needs to kill Jaedong now. Like, if he allows Jaedong to sit back and make ultras on 4 base, it's just over. And the problem is how do you kill Jaedong now? And like you were saying, there's a lot of vision on this 12 o'clock to do something like a drop into the main base or what have you. So if he's going to drop anything, he probably has to drop bottom right on the vertical axis. That's probably one way of coming back in this game here for Light. I don't know if he's going to find that win condition. I think he's just going to try and lay siege to Jaedong and see what he can do out on the map right now. But this is a small window of respite for Light. Unfortunately, I think he's going to get snuffed out in a bit more of a classy way from Jaedong. Jaedong's content to just sit back and kind of let Light punch himself out now, because with just 1 base worth of economy for Light, he will not be able to contend with this full gas ultra that's about to hit him in like a minute or 2.
Yeah, I think this scout with the Lings is great. It's a dual purpose scout. You check and see if there's a 3rd base. If there's a 3rd base, you can stop it. But you also know that Light is doing something. Like, he is definitely going for it. Somewhere he's going to be attacking and trying to get the kill now. And so Jaedong just bracing. He's just bracing for impact. Where is it going to come? Here it is. Triple D-Matrix Firebat going for the kill here. Can he actually make it work? There's the Dark Swarm on top of these lurkers. They're pretty well spread. D-Matrix Firebat doing a good job here. He's going to kill a lot of these lurkers. Can he kill them all, though, and break through? He's doing a great job so far. Here comes the big rally of units through the Nidus, though. So many Lings popping out here, and that one Firebat can't hold it all.
Yeah, he needs like 1 or 2 more D-Matrixes worth of Firebats to make this really work. He came so close to punching through the line of Jaedong here. He might catch a few of the drones or something, but yeah, this is not enough damage. Like, he managed to break through the defensive line, but nothing's really going to come of it besides a few drone kills, I don't think. He's got a few more Marines moving into position to come and support this. I mean, technically, he might actually deny mining here since Jaedong hasn't yet come to deal with this. He could plague all of these units now to make the Lings able to gobble them all up. So I think eventually Jaedong will clean this pretty easily, but he has technically denied mining for a few moments, but it doesn't matter. Jaedong's got enough minerals in the bank that shouldn't really come into play. It's mainly the gas that's important for Jaedong, and Light with this move isn't shutting down that gas income for Jaedong at all. So unfortunately for Light, while this is a valiant attempt, his win percentage is going to be plummeting yet again.
Ultras are finally out. That's going to be the closing move here from Jaedong. I think maybe once Light just sees these Ultras, he may tap out. He's kind of long distance mining from that third base. Finally swings the main base out to start mining there, floating that as kind of a last-ditch hope, a last-ditch effort to try and get something going with that two-base economy. Will be able to continue to pump out units, but shutting down additional bases or breaking Jaedong right now seems impossible, as the Ultras are just going to be way too tanky and the numbers are just not there for Light.
I mean, the reality is that Terran's a very resilient race. I mean, you hear a lot of complaints about Terran from the players in Reddit or whatever, but actually Terran's one of the hardest races to kill, to actually finish off and get them out of the game, which is one of the reasons why Light's been able to fight back in this fashion, to even be alive right now, mining on these bases. But eventually he will still lose. But Terran, as a race, is extremely resilient and has allowed a small window of comeback to be attempted to be exploited here from Light, but he's now missed his window, unfortunately. These Ultralisks are very upgraded and will be starting to gobble up this army now. I think this is the last Hail Mary push of Light. There's forces coming in from behind to clear this, and there's just not going to be enough in the tank of Light to get the job done. He has to tap out. GG is called, and we will be having either Best or Stork going up against Jaedong next.
4경기 이재동 선수와 도재욱 선수의 도미네이터 경기 오늘 그리고 멀티킬은 나오지 않고 있고요.
Magnificent display of resilience there by Light, ultimately unsuccessful, but truly hanging in there for a long time, hanging in there for a spectacular amount of time. We're now going to have Best versus Jaedong. Best over here, the bottom left. Jaedong in the center right. Didn't get the clapper there. Light didn't get the clapper, guys. Give it to him yourselves. Let's give it up for Light there, man. What an incredible game. That was... he should have been dead with the Darkstorm in the main. 90%, 99.99% of Terrans would have tapped out there, but he still hung in and actually made it a game.
Yeah, he's Daddy Terran at the end of the day, so he knows that there is that chance of coming back as long as you keep your head in the game. It's just a shame that he took so much damage from Jaedong in that early phase. Lost so many SCVs because he was just out on the map trying to kill a third base that didn't exist. We would have had a much closer game between those two had that not happened, but yeah, maybe one of the reasons we didn't get a clapper was more that there wasn't a clapper for Jaedong, because the game should have been maybe a bit over in more of an easier fashion than that, but Light fought back strong enough to make Jaedong sweat for it, and that might have tired out Jaedong just a little bit to make it harder now to go up against Best. And Best, one of the better comeback kids of the PvZ matchup himself, so Jaedong will probably have a really strong fight on his hands to finally destroy the ape of Best now.
Yeah, Best does not go down easy no matter what ends up occurring. This guy definitely has that fighting spirit displayed by Light in that previous game in spades. Best here, opening with the Forge expansion, as he's known to do. Mini really favors the Gateway expansion, and he mixed it up with that Forge expand, but this is what Best does best.
Yeah.
His bread and butter build here is how he wants to open on Dominator.
Yeah, he's just a macro Protoss through and through, and this is the macro Protoss way of playing. Also, Gateway Expand, you know, is a little bit more tricky to navigate. The behavior tree is much more complex and diverse, whereas this is a much more straightforward, I'm going to control exactly what's happening in this game. You can try and Hydra bust me, but that's about it. That's really the only control the Zerg is going to have over the tempo of this game game now, and won't be able to just say, like, you know, catch a few zealots out on the map or something. But it seems like Jaedong's actually made quite a lot of Zerglings here, and if there's only one single cannon, Best could just die. If he doesn't send out a second probe scout, which probably he should, he might just die, Sam.
Yeah, it's looking bad here. Best, who played on this map in the ASL and had such an amazing comeback versus Queen, is probably just going to lose straight up to a Ling attack. That's all she wrote, man. This cannon's going to go down, and probes will start to be targeted. If you lose the pylon, you lose the game in a situation like this. Nothing else to say about it. He's just going to go into the main base for now, kill as many probes as he can. Bess is in a world of hurt right now as more Lings make their way forward.
This is like the only way he can even lose the game guaranteed as well. Like, he just needed to send out a second probe scout to confirm there were no Lings on the way, and he's being a little bit greedy and didn't do that. And even if you're playing on the ladder, guys, send out the extra probe scout to just check across at least the midway point towards your opponent to make sure there's no Lings incoming. Because of how delayed the zealot timing is with the Forge expand, you need that guaranteed scouting information. If they forced your probe scout into the center of the board like that, you need to get some kind of confirmation, and if you don't, you're just gonna lose.
Even Best couldn't bring back a game from that brutal of a position. The Ling run by the Ling swarm there from Jaedong, taking him out early. Damn, I was hoping we were going to have something of a repeat of that game from ASL. That Queen versus Best game was so much fun, so hype. I'm pretty sure it was Queen, but I could be wrong.
I think no, I think you're right. I think it was Queen.
Yeah, that comeback on Dominator was so sick.
Queen was at 12 and Best was at 3.
That's right. That's right. And that one will go down in the history books, man. It's one of those. I feel like that's one of those games where, as a Zerg, you just shake your head like, I guess Protoss. I guess. Yeah, Zealots are pretty good. Oh my goodness, what a game that was.
Yeah, it was really special. Like, we really did count him out as well. It looks so bad for him, but he still managed to pull it out. Queen was like ahead of him in supply by quite a large margin as well, I think. It was really bad. But yeah, managed to come back with that fighting spirit, but oh my days, did he just lose in a spectacular fashion as well to Jaedong. That's a real big shame. I mean, he was cutting corners with just a singular cannon, and that's okay, but you need guaranteed scouting information if you're going to play like that. And he didn't have it. You know, he was kind of just expecting Jaedong to play, you know, 3-base Spire or a Hydra Bust or something, and it just wasn't happening. Jaedong made a few extra pairs of Zerglings and saw that the probe scout was out on the map and exploited that timing to perfection. And if you don't have the guaranteed scout, you need to either send out a zealot or a probe, and in that case, your Forge Fast expand, you need to send out a second probe, at least temporarily.
Mistakes were certainly made, but now we're here with Jaedong versus Barracks. The man of the hour, the human player of the hour, is over here at the top left, and he's going to be putting on some early pressure. Barracks sending these Marines forward, and Jaedong had to cancel his gas geyser to get drones out here to contest this. He opened with a 12 hatchery, so he's not going to have Lings for some time. May have to just go around here and try to catch the third Marine. That's when it really becomes scary, is when that third Marine gets to the front here. Once they're all combined together, that's when the drones really start to fall quickly, and you can have a serious problem on your hands. He delays the bunker long enough to actually get the cancel. That's big, but now 3 Marines are here, and the bunker has restarted. Gonna try and catch the 4th Marine, but it's still a powerful bunker if he manages to get all 3 of these Marines inside. Oh, and the 4th is going around the left.
Smart. Yeah, he's being smart. He's moved it all the way around to the natural 3rd, so it won't get intercepted by the drones. He does get a good wraparound on those Marines, though. The bunker's just about to finish. He kills one of the Marines, so 2 Marines inside that bunker. SCV's trying to repair, and also Jaedong trying to see if he can capitalize on the lack of repair on that bunker to kill it now while he still can, but isn't successful in doing so. There's just barely enough DPS into this bunker to mean Jaedong has to make another pair of Zerglings, at least 2 pairs of Zerglings to finish that off, and he will do that. But I mean, the damage has technically been done. Like, this isn't ideal from Barracks, but he forced so many pairs of Zerglings out of Jaedong as well that this should still be okay for him. Like, that's kind of like a middle road where it didn't do as much damage as it should, but it also did enough where the game can kind of restabilize for the Terran as well.
Yeah, this was a reasonable hold from Jaedong. Very good control with the drones there, and pulling them out at the right moment as well. You don't want to leave them in if they're not needed, because taking that damage, losing a couple more drones can mean the difference between a playable game and a game that's just completely over, that the Terran's going to take control of. Each drone so incredibly important, and now Jaedong getting into his mining here at the natural, replenishing that drone count, and Barracks just starting his CC. It is for sure a playable game here, and we'll see how Barracks wants to follow this up.
Yeah, I mean, this will basically the game is going to be like a normal game, except everything's going to be pushed back by about a minute-ish for both sides. The tech timings of the Zerg will be back by about a minute, so the Spire will start soon rather than already be on the way. For example, I think he's just now going to make the Spire. I think the drone, oh, he's actually not got enough minerals for it. Unfortunately, a little bit of misoptimization there for Jaedong. Hasn't got the minerals to throw down his Spire when he would like to. I wonder if he's going to make that in his natural instead. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he makes it in the natural. He's going to have a creep colony coming up here as well. Run by. Gonna get a Marine. He does get one Marine. Not bad. Not bad for sure. And with the sunken colony finishing up, just pure Marines not going to do the trick. Can the sunken colony finish in time? As long as it finishes now, okay, he's going to be all right.
Okay.
The sunken colony will do fine. Drones coming off the line, definitely important, but he's got to pull back.
Ooh.
Why is he staying? Oh my goodness, he's going to stay?
Oh my goodness. That's crazy from Jaedong. Like, I think he almost calculated it that he could stand and fight and kill more Marines than he did. I think he ever so slightly miscalculated the force of power on both sides, where he thought, hang on a minute, I can stand and fight this and kill these Marines quickly enough that they won't dish out the DPS required to kill all my drones, and he's ever so slightly misassumed that fact. So the Marines stayed alive a little bit longer than Jaedong expected, and more drones went down than they should have done. But that's now going to help Jaedong out in a big way. I think also Jaedong was worried about a follow-up bust timing, like he wanted to thin out the herd of Marines so that the weakened sunken will still be difficult to break now.
We'll see. I mean, he's had to produce a bunch of drones now. 2 sunken colonies here. No target fire on that weakened sunken just yet. Ooh. There it is. Now going to target it. Can he kill another Marine? He does get one more Marine kill. Can he get this other Marine kill? Looks like the healing is too good. He targets the Marine that's out of range of the medic, actually. He gets rid of that Marine on the right-hand side, and the mutas will come in clutch just in time. This is a great hold, and Barracks has thrown away some of his lead after killing all those drones.
Honestly, the unsung hero, that was that Evo chamber that Jaedong placed to body block those Marines for getting to optimal firing positions. Like, so many of those Marines were not even firing initially and kind of glitched out by that Evo chamber. It's such a clutch play for Zergs to go for in those situations to deny the Terran optimal damage output, and definitely helped Jaedong hold that in a very clean fashion. And now we'll have a lot more ability to propel himself forward in this game with this tempo play, with the Mutalisk harassing Barracks and Barracks playing catch up with his bio count. Certainly the pendulum is swinging back to Barracks and might start acting like a wrecking ball soon.
Let's see what kind of damage Jaedong can get done here. There's quite a lot of turrets that have been built by Barracks, but how's his factory timing with this? We talked about earlier, all the timing's going to be pushed back by about a full minute. And so he might be, you know, behind the curve on that. Still should be okay here. No third base yet for Jaedong. He's just focusing on getting out some additional drones and keeping this SCV count low.
Yeah, this is exactly what Jaedong needs to do to just, stay as clean as possible in the mid game. Just shave off as much of the economy of barracks as possible and force also some bio trades. Like, he has to still kill bio while doing this. If he actually only kills SCVs, eventually barracks will still win because there'll just be a critical mass of a big blob of bio that he can't stop, and his lurker timings will be far too late to do anything about it. So he has to rely predominantly on these mutas to force trades out of barracks and shave off as much of the bio threat as possible while he's droning back at home. You can see him squeezing out a few drones here and there, stabilizing. He's also throwing down a third base at the bottom right quadrant just now as well. But still, these mutalisks will have to do a bit of heavy lifting to keep this mid game as viable as possible for Jaedong.
9-minute factory. Definitely those timings have been slowed by a lot. Marines making their way towards the natural. Jaedong does not have the force of Sunkens here at the natural to make it possible to just dive with the mutas. He's got to stay back and contest with these Marines, and diving in deep here, getting some kills, means that he can think about getting the surround now, looking for the Ling Mutalist surround. Can he pull it off cleanly? No +1 here for barracks, bringing everything together here. Mutas from the right-hand side are going to be targeted down, but the majority of these mutas will survive, and everything that barracks has been building towards has just been wiped out.
That wasn't the smoothest of executions from Jaedong, but the game plan was extremely well thought out, and that's exactly what he needed to do to optimize against barracks. He even cancelled those creep colonies that he was morphing as well, just to make sure he's got as strong of an economy as possible to not allow the Terran to come back in the game after this. And barracks is now on damage control mode, even building bunkers right now, knowing that he's at risk of dying to a massive mutaling stab from Jaedong. Mutas swinging into the main base. He'll try and pull a lot of the forces into the main base to deal with the mutas, and the Lings can now stab into the natural expansion to find damage there. But with that bunker, the Lings will have to back out again. So it was a nice idea from barracks to re-establish control of his natural with that bunker, so that he was free to force the mutas out of his main base with the bio forces. So it's okay for barracks, but this is honestly going to become a harder and harder fight for him. You were saying about the factory timing was basically 2 minutes slower than it should be. 1 minute is expected because of the early game rush, but 2 minutes is really crazy. It's like he made it at 8 minutes instead of 7 minutes in a traditional game in terms of normal timing. So he's really late on his tech as a result, and Jaedong's going to be flourishing with his third base now.
Barracks is going to bank his hopes on what appears to be a 3-tank push. Can he make it over here to the natural and bust it open before Jaedong has those critical defilers with consume ready to stop it? If he does have that, I don't see how barracks can win this game, but never count out the Terrans. I mean, we saw Light fight back from a worse position than this, right? For sure, he had some chances to potentially win. He's certainly not dead, and although Jaedong is ahead in supply, or he was ahead in supply just a moment ago, and he's got this Defiler Mound on the way, there may still be just a slight timing here where he can get this tank push off.
Yeah. The Defiler Mound just now started, so I still think there is definitely a timing for barracks to exploit here. I mean, yes, the factory timing was slow for barracks, but this Defiler Mound is also a little bit slow from Jaedong as well. So there might still be a window to exploit, but Jaedong's gonna, force this to be delayed by setting up out preemptively on this high ground and either force sieges out of barracks or at least force him to circumnavigate a direct path towards this natural expansion either way. So trying to shave off as many seconds as he can so he can get that consume tech online, but he's still got a long way to go, and barracks is full steam ahead now to the natural expansion of Jaedong. He will have a window to punish. He's going to start laying siege to the Zerg in just a few moments here. Jaedong's trying to set out defense on the periphery to force an engagement out of barracks, or at least force 1 or 2 sieges out of him ahead of schedule. He doesn't quite catch the science vessel, though. That would have been a huge pick for Jaedong, but now that he's not got that, Barracks isn't even going to go attempt to siege. He's just going to keep shooting down the lurkers with the arc light cannons. Now siege up in range of the lurkers and sunkens on the front line. He's got guardians as a last bastion of hope here to make sure he can smash down this force. And since there's not many science vessels available to Barracks, he can't easily distribute radiates now, Sam.
Yeah, this is a great counterplay to this type of tank push. Just having the Guardians here buys him some time. Where is that consume? There it is. Dark Swarm will be coming out here in a moment, and one Lurker's underneath. That's enough to shove everything back. And Barracks, although he nearly breaks this natural, he will not get through. And Jaedong is free to macro back up, get a 4th base online, and he's got all the tech he needs.
Yeah, this is really well done from Jaedong. He needed something to kind of balance out the awkwardness towards getting that consume, and Guardians was definitely it. There's this little tiny window of about 10 to 20 seconds where you're just waiting for consume to finish and you can't do anything about it. And there's 2 tech trees you can go for. You could either go for like a couple of Queens of Ensnare or a few Guardians, and usually the Guardians will give you the most consistent value, but if you do need a few extra seconds bought for you, that's a great way of shutting down a tank push. Guardians are so good at this variation of a bust from Terran. Queens are only good against mass bio when you're going crazy Zerg usually. In this configuration, the Guardians will give you the more expected value overall. So I really do like this from Jaedong, and now we can take a 4th base, and there are Wraiths out on the field now, so there is still a bit of room to maneuver for Barracks to slowly turn this game around. He's got the cloak to intercept now.
Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and get rid of all the Guardians. Still doesn't you know, fix the problem here of having lurkers under Dark Swarm, but you know, he can kill some overlords. He can cause a problem here. Nice plague there, getting on top of all of these cloaked wraiths. Gonna come forward and drop the Dark Swarm right in the face of these tanks. And yeah, this is the unfortunate part about failing the tank push, is that now everything is ready here. Everything is set up. Very hard for Barracks to really do anything with these tanks at this point.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, Barracks needs to leapfrog to 4 base worth of economy and just go a little bit more defensive while trying to contain the Zerg, but he doesn't have enough resources to really set all that up. He's a little bit behind schedule. He doesn't have the fleet of vessels that he needs to have a strong standing army to apply pressure to Jaedong. He's attempting to do that with what force he can muster, but you can see he's not containing the Zerg on 2 fronts. This expansion at the bottom right that's just now being established by Jaedong hasn't really been contested. He's moving over there with a small force now, but there's already a massive army that's been mustered over there, and he's leaving his left flank weak to do so. So he's going to reinforce that now, but he's only on 3 bases. Usually you need to double expand in these situations and raise ahead to 4 bases. You can attempt to bust the natural expansion, though. There is no Nidus Canal in the natural. It's on the high ground in the main, so maybe there's a tiny window that Barracks can punch through this, and with the units coming down from the ramp on the high ground, he might be able to make it work. But it looks like Jaedong's still holding pretty strong despite not having too many units here. Another round of Firebats trying to make the impossible happen, but they're all in a big conga line, so those subterranean spines rip through them with ease. And while it might be a valiant effort from Barracks, it's not paying off.
That was a sick plague on all the Firebats. Those Firebats are scary, man. Those things can bust through a lot of lings, even under Dark Swarm. Even lurkers supporting them are not going to do very well, but he drops the plague, gets clear of those Firebats, and you're totally right. No 4th base here limits the potential of Barracks in a later game stage. This is not as bad of a situation as we saw with Jaedong versus Light, but it's still a very sticky situation, and those Ultras are going to be coming here. Oh my gosh. Huge mistake here from Barracks, and he's actually letting his units just walk forward too. He's not paying attention to this at all, Shun.
Yeah, no, there's just too much chili sauce on his army at this point. Gonna make it even more tastier to gobble up by Jaedong. And yeah, without that fourth gas, he's gonna have a hard time, say, getting additional starports for more vessels and maybe even battle cruisers and what have you, or even being able to afford like 3 factories worth of tanks or something. He needs anything, but the Mutualist now clearing up all those plagued vessels, just too much cost efficiency. Jaedong really taking barracks to Value Town right now, and there is a drop coming into the bottom right, but the Overlord's going to spot it, and there's some Zerglings that are going to be able to quickly respond to that to prevent total disaster as well. There's just not much counterplay available to barracks that's going to be successful at least, and even the natural is still heavily fortified with lurkers, so he can't even distract Jaedong and hit that 4th base even.
Well, this is not bad. I mean, he's managed to find the one spot where Jaedong wasn't on top of the drops right at the moment when they were popping out. So he managed just to get them down onto the ground. 5 kills circling, 6 now. This is doing a lot of damage here behind, while Barracks is focusing on the front and trying to get some damage done for himself.
I mean, it's so rare for one single Zergling to do this much damage against Terran, especially with how much HP the SCVs have. With adrenal glands, they can attack very quickly indeed, and those cracklings make short work of some of those SCVs. Massive drop now in the bottom right quadrant. There are defilers and lurkers in position, but he can navigate around the dark swarm clouds to cause a bit of a headache to Jaedong. The problem is, though, there's no 4th base. Jaedong's even counter-attacking a 4th base that doesn't exist. He's expecting barracks to have 12 o'clock or something, and he just doesn't. And Jaedong's going to be maybe scratching his head a little bit, thinking, hang on a minute, how are you even going to beat me without a 4th base? It just doesn't make sense. Your natural's about to be mined out as well, so you'll be on 1 base worth of economy against a 4-gas Zerg. It's just not tenable, said. Another drop in the 4th base now. Going to be killing some of those drones. Finally, barracks floating a command center to 12 o'clock to get a 4th base established. I just think it's too little too late.
It may be so. The Ultralist timer has been counting down for a while, and it must be just about ready to pop here. Ultras will be popping out in just a moment. That +2 armor is done, +3 for sure on the way right now, and as soon as those start to come out, we already saw it versus Light. It becomes very difficult for the Terran on this low economy. Just playing scrappy as heck just becomes so much harder to actually make anything happen. This drop over here at the natural in bottom right, not gonna do too much. A lot of drones do end up dying to that irradiate tech, but this army is gonna get cleared up. All those irradiate vessels are gone as well. Some of these drops are gonna get caught on the exit, looks like. Oh, he saves it just barely. But look at the supplies dropping significantly here, and the Ultras are now out. Time is up here for Barracks as he goes for one last hoorah into the main, bottom right.
Yeah, this is definitely a Hail Mary play from him at this point. It's just not enough damage. Even if he does kill all of those drones, Jaedong's still going to be in a very commanding position. He's not even landed the command center at 12. He's not even mining from that base right now. He has to tap out. GG is called, and Jaedong might be the hero to somehow still clutch this out for Zerg. Like, it's crazy right now. It's such a shame that Best choked in that early game and died in that fashion, because if Jaedong now gets his mojo and goes on a warpath, we will be seeing a Zerg victory at this rate. It's going to be Stork versus Jaedong next, and I don't necessarily like Stork's chances in this matchup.
Ooh, Stork versus Jaedong on Screaming Sea. Here it is, your match number 6, guys. Does Stork have something spectacular planned for us?
He must do, right? Like, you would expect him to have something planned, because I just don't see how he's going to take the fight to Jaedong in a traditional macro game on this map. I mean, maybe. It's like Jaedong's actually expecting some kind of shenanigans that he needs to slap down. He's going for 9 pull to apply a lot of pressure here to Stork if it was something like a 12 Nexus. Obviously going to be a pylon scout here from Stork early on to identify exactly what Jaedong's plan is. So he won't necessarily be blindsided by this, but we'll also control the pace of the game. He will have to make 2 cannons to deal with this, for example.
Yeah, and he can check the eggs and see if, you know, he actually makes 6 lings and just make the cannon as soon as he sees the lings, because it is such a long rush distance. The cannon will finish in time. And so, you know, there's a bit of a good position here from Stork. I don't necessarily think he's just gonna win, or that he's even in a great spot, but like he can for sure kind of adjust his build here, and I think this plays into his hands. Are we going to see like Reaver Ser into carrier from Stork? We've seen it before. It wasn't played quite properly, but you know, Stork is that one carrier user who's just he's insanely good with carriers. He gets so many wins with it. We just never see him play it against Zerg. If Stork could play carrier versus Zerg and it was actually good, like if a carrier was actually good versus Zerg, I think Stork might be one of the better players in the world right now.
Maybe, but I mean, let's just be honest. Reaver Ser is one of the most mechanically demanding ways of playing Protoss, and I just don't think that Stork has the finesse in his execution to pull it off, even on Screaming Sea, where it's a very formidable strategy to go for in the first place. So, yeah, while I'd be hopeful that maybe Stork can pull something like that out here on this map, I don't necessarily think he's going to be successful in doing so. We'll have to wait and see. Attacking his own buildings with the probes to force a hold position, and he also quickly turns around and shoots the probes with shoots the links with the probes. Actually, not a bad hold from Stork at all. That was really well done from Stork. Like, he did that almost perfectly. And yeah, I can't fault him for that. That was really nicely done. And he pylon blocks the natural third of Jaedong as well, forcing it to be made at this slightly suboptimal 12 o'clock position. I mean, this is okay for Stork so far.
He can cannon rush this too. By the way, I think that Stork actually hid probes back there. He had like 3 probes off to the side, kind of baiting in Jaedong to try and go for that and try to run by, because those extra probes came up at the perfect moment and shut that down. He's not going to go for some sort of cannon play. That would be really cheeky over at the 3rd base, but sometimes, you know, all the lings are dead. If the Zerg player is really trying to catch up in a moment like this, maybe they only make drones and they just don't scout. Not going to be the case here. Jaedong makes a few extra pairs of lings. He knows that he needs to deal with the zealot that's coming. Stork in a very good spot right now. Let's see if he can transfer this into a win, and how will he want to follow this up?
Yeah, I don't think the cannon rush at the 12 makes sense unless you've got another probe scout to fool Jaedong. With just one probe scout, if he doesn't see that there's a probe checking on things, he's going to know that there's something going on and send his lings up there. But sometimes you do see, rarely, a delayed cannon rush paying off against a Protoss. It's just very rare at the pro level. This is going to be an interesting game. Like, I didn't expect Stork to hold his own quite in this fashion, at least to begin with. We'll see, though. There's a lot of Zerglings with speed making their way downtown. There's not a Zealot that's popped out yet. He could just run by. Okay, just now the Zealot's popped out in the nick of time. He will potentially be safe against this now, but he can still target the probe and get in here.
Ooh, he's just gonna get straight in. Uh-oh, 4 lings in the main. I think we need a cannon. Stork gonna have a hard time dealing with these speedlings here. He will throw down that cannon in the main base and sends the Zealot in as well. I would be really scared to send the Zealot back, because he's leaving the door wide open and there could be more links coming. In fact, there are a few more links coming for Jaedong.
Yeah, luckily there's another Zealot that's just now popped out, and Jaedong wasn't on top of things. Does lose a couple of those for free, but he's targeting down so many probes! The probe drill not quite being as cost efficient as it needs to be, and South still loots quite a lot of those probes, but at the end of the day, he cleaned up the threat in the main base, and yeah, this is not terrible for Stork. You know, there's a lot. Best, for example, he just died to the lings of Jaedong, so we have to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe he can still turn this into a very strong game for himself.
He's gonna try to come out with more Zealots. I mean, if he saw that Jaedong was building drones, maybe that's a good idea, but he sees Lings, and he's going to turn these Zealots around, head back home, get back in that wall, and prevent another run by. Stork could end up losing this one Zealot. Looks like he might just barely save it. He does keep that alive. Jaedong going to follow up with some Hydras, maybe just barely enough to keep his overlords alive for the time being. And there it is, a Robo on the way here for Stork. I think it will indeed be Corsair Reaver to follow this up.
I mean, it's almost on curve for that. You usually start that around about the 6-ish minute mark, and it was mostly completed not too long ago. So yeah, it's pretty much on schedule to being a Reaver Sair build. So yeah, there's the support bay in the main. This could be very interesting, saying I don't know how well Stork is going to be able to execute this, but we have seen very good Corsair control from him in the past, in previous seasons of KCM. He's capable of it. He's just not one of those, you know, Mr. Consistent players in Protoss versus Zerg that I would expect him to be strong with it. But he might surprise us today. He might absolutely take the fight to Jaedong in a big way, and this Reaver Sair might be very potent.
As most Protoss players do on this map with the Reaver Sair, gonna drop a probe at the third base immediately and then wait for that Reaver to pop. The very difficult part about playing Reaver Sair is getting the third base online generally. That's the hard part, but with the island nature of this map, getting that for free is very nice and allows him to be a little bit more aggressive with the Reaver. Losing a Corsair there is a bit rough. You really need the power of the Corsairs in the air to keep that Reaver shuttle alive. Otherwise, getting aggressive is just not, it's just not tenable. You can't do it. Let's see if he still wants to go for it even after losing that Corsair, because it's a little bit scary right now to come out with this.
Absolutely. Ideally, you also want to go into Fleet Beacon with, well, he's actually caught another Corsair with the Scourge. He now can't one-shot these Scourge. Oh, this is he's in trouble, saying he's just lost 2 Corsairs for free. He can't keep one-shotting these Scourge and having a strong superiority in the skies. So there's going to be a little bit of a window where there's going to be no pressure on Jaedong at all, where he's just trying to, you know, recoup his count of Corsairs. You even have to run back to the safety of a cannon while he does so. Does set up that third base on the way, so it's not totally terrible here, but definitely a bit of a blunder to lose this many Corsairs this early when that's the main backbone to his army.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Stork's actually just gonna Hail Mary. Look at this. I mean, he's got no way to get home.
That's crazy.
This is really wild. I guess speed finished, so he can run away with the shuttle now. It's not completely a one-way journey. Let's see if we can get a big shot. Oh my gosh, he really needed a good hit there. Not really getting anything. There's a big hit. 4 kills. Not bad. 5 and 6 go down. Oh, but the kill there does get rid of the Reaver. 6 kills, not bad though. That's respectable for this first Reaver, considering.
I mean, it's okay. It's kind of like when you go 8 racks and you only kill 2 drones. It's not good, but it's not terrible. It's okay, I guess. But it's not ideal, saying. Like, that definitely wasn't the critical damage he was hoping for. He needed that extra Scarab hit in the natural to make that worth it, but it dudded out. Takes only 4 seconds for those Scarabs to dud out, so unfortunately, didn't have the critical damage that he needs to put himself into a very potent mid-game, and needs to be careful with these Corsairs. He can't lose anything else for free. Does lose another Corsair there. Has got this island at the 6 o'clock finally coming online and starting to mine from it. But needs to even wait for a shuttle to be finished to get some extra probes over there.
He does have that shuttle done now. Overlord speed is finished. We can imagine that drop will be coming up here shortly for Jaedong, who's now on 4 base economy. Stork not going to try to get into like air Protoss play, instead adding on a lot of gateways back at home. He has the Reavers here to defend his base, and he can do things like land Reavers at some of these islands to really shore up the defense. So it's very hard, very hard. Oh, turning at the right moment there. Very hard to break any of these bases with something like Hydra drops if there's Reavers and Cannons. Like, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, for sure. And if you do have the APM to get not only the fleet beacon for the upgrades, but also to get disruption web, that's really crazy strong. It just requires so much execution to make work. But if you can do it, and you can get disruption webs going down on the Paxa Hydras and the Spores and the Sunkens, while also dropping your Reavers on top of everything, it's just so crazy strong. But most players won't do it. It's just too intensive to go for. They're much more likely to get the fleet beacon just for the upgrade alone, and then maybe a carrier transition as a last-ditch effort to establish a late-game army. Jaedong moving out with a lot of air forces, lots of Mutalisks and Scourge in the sky, as well as some Overlords looking to maybe drop this 6 o'clock position. Tries to get on top of the Corsair fleet. The shuttle almost goes down, but doesn't quite. Tad's got 2 Reavers here that are just absolutely shelling the Hydras that are popping out, but it's not quick enough. I think that he's still going to gobble up all of these Corsairs and the Reavers, and now all these probes are going to get eviscerated as well. He can't even evacuate anything in the shuttle. The shuttle goes down, and unfortunately for Stork, this is one of the worst case scenarios.
Now, this is a really sick play from Jaedong. He set this up really nicely, bringing out this timing with just a bunch of Overlords, dropping Hydras, plus all the Mutas coming in with the Scourge. This is a hard thing to execute, but he's done it to perfection. And Stork, not quite enough cannons to prevent that from going down. Not quite enough good connections with the Corsairs. I mean, that all stemmed from the damage that was done earlier from Jaedong. Like, Jaedong's just been picking off Corsairs non-stop, and so this type of play, it's all made possible by those kills earlier on. Now, this attack coming, he immediately snipes the Observer. I mean, how do you do this now? No Observer? You're not going to get through this Lurker here.
I mean, you can attack your own Zealots, I guess, but it's not ideal. He's going to even lose the Reavers to boot. This is so suboptimal for Stork. He does have a massive force of Dragoons, but this one single Lurker is halting his advance because of the lack of Observers. And Jaedong was even hunting for an additional Observer just there a moment ago to catch it before he could get to the front lines. Luckily, there was no Observer to snipe, but that's still bad news bears for Stork. He needs some kind of Observer to break through these lines. Finally, an Observer gets to that Lurker location, but there's just barely enough Hydras to make this harder and harder, and he dives onto that Observer again. He's lost it. Oh, this is crazy. If only he had like 2 Robos worth of production and had a lot more Observers coming, he might actually be able to make some ground against Jaedong, but now he's just dwindling, saying, and a lot of these Dragoons starting to die.
Yeah, he was relying on Reavers for the splash damage as well, and now that there's no Reavers, there's no High Templar either. Pure Dragoon is having a very hard time coming across this bridge, regardless of whether there's an Overlord, or excuse me, an Observer or not. Lurkers have been made over here and dropped into the natural, and now the economy back at home is getting absolutely obliterated. This cannon will fall, and all of the probes along with it. Stork, with this final hoorah, looks like he will not be successful, and GG is called. Jaedong takes away Screaming Sea and is 1 game away from taking home the all-kill prize here in week number 1. 4 kills so far. Jaedong on an absolute tear. We said this could possibly happen, Shun. Jaedong could be that guy to take Zerg to the victory this week. It's all depending on his form, and his form is looking fantastic, just like when he was preparing for the ASL this past season. Like, eventually this guy is going to, I think, get an ASL. I really do believe that Jaedong will make it there someday.
It's possible. I mean, if he keeps playing like this and keeps putting in this amount of effort, certainly anything can happen. And looks like the Tyrant is not done with his tirade saying even though he's been eliminated for his current ASL run, he's still alive and kicking and playing very well. If he can maintain this kind of form between now and the next season 21 of ASL, like, it's very possible he'll have a very good run at it. But it is very common for players to kind of, you know, put in less effort between the ASLs and kind of just coast a little bit and then start training hard again like a month before the qualifiers or what have you. And if Jaedong doesn't do that and he stays playing at this level for that entire time, it is very possible that he will do well in the next ASL.
I'll be looking forward to it. Now we've got Speed over here in the top right-hand corner, opening up with a gas build. Factory here. Gets thrown down. Very fast factory. Very fast factory from Speed. This is looking like a TVP build where you're trying to pressure with the early Vulture, but instead it's going to be that Vulture coming for the natural here of Jaedong. Jaedong gets rid of both of the mineral patches here on the ramp, really opening up that pathway to potential counterattacks, you know, Ling run-bys or what have you. Definitely putting a bit of fear here for Speed and what might be coming next.
Oh, absolutely. I'm curious how he's going to leverage this early factory. Like, is it just going to be a Vulture run-by, or has he got a teched out play? He's got a lot of gas in the banks. I mean, he could, if he wanted to, just throw down 2 starports or something. I think it is going to be 2 starports, actually. I think he's built 1 now. I think he might be building a 2nd.
Speed is just sick with the double starport play. Like, I'm not surprised to see him do this at all. 2 starports back at home, and I think that Jaedong's probably hip to this. He probably knows what's coming here. He's got the sunken colony at the front. Burrow is super good against this. Also, you could just go for a Hydralisk build, but I think that Jaedong's more the type of player to just try to get immediately into Mutalisk while surviving with the Burrow instead.
But it has to be said, like, with those minerals mined out on the ramp, it definitely opens up the counter play for Jaedong. Like, he has more of a wider variety of options to him. Like, he could, you know, just try and defend back at home while seeing if he can go for a Ling run-by on the ground as well. Something like that could be very strong when there's no wall in from the Terran to be able to exploit, and hard to block the ramp as well with those minerals mined out. Definitely the world is Jaedong's oyster on how he wants to best deal with this.
Yeah, he's gonna go for a Mutalisk plate. Now, this is technically very strong against the 2 starport, as long as he doesn't lose too many overlords and he gets Burrow, you know, doesn't lose drones here. He should be quite favored, but Speed is so incredible with these rates. It's kind of crazy. Like, he will just outrange you, and there it is. The Burrow comes through. Gonna just be able to burrow these drones, keep them all alive. Shouldn't lose anything here as long as he does it properly. Burrowing the moment that those shots first come through so that they don't unburrow themselves unnecessarily. A couple of overlords are gonna fall here for Jaedong in the main base, but overall, this is a good hold so far. It's just, he is very good at doing the absolute maximum range attacks with these Wraiths and controlling them better than basically anybody else playing Terran.
Yeah, he used to be called 10-minute Flash for a reason. His early game control was almost second to none as Terran. He's become a bit more of a complete player since then. And, you know, he's a bit more well-rounded, but he is still very good at controlling these early game skirmishes, especially with 2-port Wraith. And, yeah, I mean, this was a great hold from Jaedong, but he did lose out on some mining time while those drones were borrowed. Let's see if Speed can find any follow-up damage. Needs to be careful with these first 4 Wraiths, so he can't be so flamboyant in how he moves around the map here. Needs to be respectful of Jaedong and keep locked in, because one small misstep can spell disaster. I think he's just now finished his cloak research, maybe, and yeah, here he comes now. This is a much more appropriate approach from Speed once that cloak is done. and you know you can be reasonably safe and get out and get in a lot more effectively.
Gonna get an Overlord here at the periphery. This really opens up the natural. Can go in here. Overlords are out of position. He doesn't realize it, so he's gonna back away for now. Just continuing to pump out these raids. Might have been low on energy on those as well. Like, if you run out of energy during one of these early attacks, can end up losing a lot of your momentum here. And so he's just going to pull back, start to heal up some of these, but he's not done building wraiths. He's going to keep building wraiths. He's going to get up to like 11 and put on the pressure. And you guys are going to see when Speed fights mutas, sometimes it's ridiculous how much damage he can get without the mutalist player able to fight back really at all. Like, I know it's Jadong here with mutas. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but Speed is very good at just keeping that range barely far enough away from the mutas and making them look silly.
Yeah, I mean, mutas only have a range of 3, so I mean, they don't. If you're really on top of your Wraith control, you can really just like dish out the damage of the Gemini missiles without really the mutas being able to do anything in response to you. Eventually, you can obviously catch up to those Wraiths because they have to spin around to do so, but you can dish out so much damage against the Zerg. It's effectively having like Mutalisks on steroids, if you micro it appropriately, and Jadong could find himself in a lot of trouble if he doesn't just catch the Wraiths as a result. He's actually making a Queen's Nest right now. It's not a bad idea. You could, if you wanted to, even get into like a Queen of an Ensnare. That's a great way of dealing with mass Wraith as well. Just one single Ensnare can be the end of the Terran player in that regard. Not only does it reveal the Wraiths, so you don't need an Overlord in position, but also obviously slows them down so they can be caught more appropriately. And that doesn't necessarily mean Jadong's going to go for that. He could just be doing that to transition into Hive normally, but certainly could go for that here and get a quick Ensnare with a Queen would also be a great way of dealing with this build order choice from Speed.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, going for Ensnare, if there's a moment where like a bust is coming through, maybe he goes into Marines after, and has like a timing with Marine Wraith. We've seen that before. One Ensnare can allow him to buy a little bit of time for more sunken colonies to finish, and of course he can try to trade with some mutas, you know, try to poke at the army. And if you have 11 mutas and you're poking the Wraiths, they can't run away and they can't utilize that range. I mean, you can do a lot of damage. You can kill a lot of Wraiths very, very quickly. They are still paper planes at the end of the day. If they're not able to run away, it becomes pretty hard to trade. And of course, Ensnare also removes the ability to cloak. So it's really a double whammy when it comes to Queens, and Ensnare is just a very good spell, underutilized.
Yeah, I'm sure Jadong would be considering that, but he doesn't have perfect vision. He doesn't know for sure that there's 11 Wraiths here. Like, he knows there's a decent amount. You can sometimes tell by how dark the shadow is underneath the Wraiths of how many there actually are in that stack. That's how they used to calculate whether or not they could trade well enough in Zerg versus Zerg back in day. They would just identify just how dark the shadow was underneath to effectively calculate roughly who was in advantage at any given time. And as you can see, the shadow under the Wraiths gets pretty dark once there's a full stack there. So Jadong might be able to figure this out, but this hold position lurker could just end him. Like, look at this.
Ooh, this hold position lurker is so good here. He's actually going to get rid of a lot of these Marines. Might get both the medics. Oh, the medics are so close to death. They are going to survive, though, for now. They actually will heal each other up. And the mutas are actually being chased down. He's losing a lot of mutas here. The Wraith's doing a great job now with the chase micro. There is one spore at the front. But the Marines, they don't really care about that. They're actually going to be able to push in here soon. The lurkers are on the wrong side of this engagement. Can they get back here? He's actually going to let them run by. Oh my goodness. The lurkers get past, and they do manage to defend this natural.
And they do not care about high ground, by the way. So it's okay for the lurkers to be in the trench like that. They still do a 100% hit chance, no matter if they're on low ground or high ground. So they're great for helping out and defending in these awkward positions in the trench on weird maps like this. It doesn't really matter to the lurkers. But I mean, yeah, what a weird turn of events here. I thought for a second Speed was just going to be dead to the whole position lurker, but actually I did a lot of damage And now he's going to be harassing the drones in the bottom left. There is a spore on the way, but not quite quick enough. And he is going to kill a lot of those drones in that bottom left. He does borrow a few of them, but I think that the spore will finish up just barely. With the Scourge helping, maybe he holds this, but it's very close. Like, Speed could still break the spore.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever seen Wraiths break a spore? He just does it.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, Speed, he could break bottom left, maybe. There's a chance. If he does like a scan here, kills the lurkers. No scan, no ability to kill the lurkers. He's probably running out of energy on those Wraiths as well. Jaedong surviving and Speed. This play, I mean, it's done some damage, but has it done enough? Jaedong getting into that late game now.
Yeah, I don't know if it is enough. I mean, he looks okay in this game. I think Jaedong has obviously the advantage of the tech, but Speed is not letting him rest and figure things out. Like, this drop into the main base is crazy. The D-Matrix as well makes it so hard for Jaedong to trade. There is one single lurker helping out. He hasn't quite caught that science vessel. Finally does kill the science vessel. That's nice from Speed, but I mean, he's still being annoying enough to Jaedong where there's a way of making this work. I feel the Defilers are now out, so I think eventually Jaedong should be in a great position, but Speed is making him really fight for this.
Yeah, he's putting him through his paces, that's for sure. One of the vessels goes down, and looks like the Marines will be dealt with here. Another Marine force going down the bottom left. There's no night addition. 2 lurkers are being made, though. I think he will get to the ramp in time.
Yeah, just barely, it looks like. There are also some Hydras that will be intercepting and slowing down this army ever so slightly, buying a few extra precious seconds for those lurkers to reposition appropriately. So it looks like Jaedong will hold here and be fine. Speed definitely, like you say, putting Jaedong through his paces, but now Jaedong will start to fight back in a very strong way with this Defiler tech out. And Hydra Lurker as well to support underneath those Dark Swarms will be harder and harder now for Speed to remain relevant in this game. He was kind of defending by attacking for a long time, but now that Jaedong will be knocking on his doors, I don't know if he can hold him.
Yeah, it's getting very difficult here for Speed. He's just barely got enough irradiates to keep Jaedong off of his doorstep. One more Darkstorm? No, doesn't have it. But Speed is falling behind in supply. He's not able to get down here to bottom left to really do anything either. There's no Nidus down there, so there's an opening that Speed could maybe get some damage, but that's going to close rapidly as Jaedong continues along with this Hydralis Defiler play. Add some more drones here. There's the Nidus Canal. As soon as that's done, I think that window will close in Speed. I mean, he just got a few Marines running around right now. +2 is done, but very little going for him right now as this drop flies into the main.
Yeah, I mean, there is a teeny tiny chance that this drop does crazy amounts of damage or something. It is possible. Technically, this is a winnable game for Speed, but it's going to be really tough. He needs to kill a lot of drones here as well as tech. So he needs the Evo Chamber and the Spire and some drones. He's not going to get all 3 of those things. He's going to maybe get 1, but it doesn't look like he's even going to get that. Like, if he could somehow kill the Evo Chamber, that's a great thing, but honestly, he needs the Evo Chamber and drones and a Spire kill. He needs like a lot of things to line up for a comeback, and he's just not getting it. And unfortunately, Jaedong, he's sewn up tightly with these Defilers as well, where he can't even do like a 1-2 punch combination and come into the natural after pulling Jaedong's forces into the main. So there, yeah, like you say, there's just not enough going for Speed right now. I mean, that's something, catching a straight Defiler, but he doesn't actually even kill it. 2 HP on that Defiler.
That pick on the drop going into the main was excellent. Jaedong shutting down the faucet, shutting down the damage that Speed was able to output. If he was able to get another drop into the main, like he picked up those Marines and went in the main again, things might have started to spiral, but Jaedong just has enough right now. He's got... Oh, wait. Nothing underneath here. No lurkers underneath this Dark Swarm, so he goes for it, tries to get up the ramp. Not going to happen. Jaedong bringing forward some lurkers just in the nick of time, and that's really the theme here. Just always having barely enough at the right moment is exactly how you want to play Zerg against Terran.
Yeah, I mean, equally, Speed is almost playing how you should as Terran. Like, he's attempting to lean on Jaedong and lay siege to him for extended periods of time, but Jaedong has been able to kick the foot off the gas pedal quite a few times, and Speed hasn't been just freight training his way towards more and more damage over and over again. There's been enough breaks in the combat for Jaedong to establish control again. Defilers and Lings in position to intercept these dropships now because of how delayed they've been, and will really take the wind out of Speed's sails. He will still get some damage done in the main base, potentially could circle around, maybe kill the Evo chamber, the Spire, and what have you, but it's not critical damage. It's better than nothing, but it's not the kind of damage that Speed needs to get back into this game, unfortunately. If he could only just lay continuous siege to Jaedong for like 2 minutes without pause, then he could probably cause Jaedong to spiral out of control and find a win condition out of thin air, but with enough breaks in that pattern, he's not going to be successful in doing so.
Speed is setting up for the late game. That 4th base has been taken. It's just not had a transfer of workers here just yet. Speed gets an Evo chamber. I wonder what upgrade was going on there. If that was +3 armor, maybe there's some hope here. Speed's going to have +3 attack for sure very, very soon. So having a bit of an advantage in terms of that upgrade could mean something as this game continues on, but 2 more drops. He's spending so much money on drops here. He's been continuously hitting these drops over and over again, but they just haven't been dealing the damage he needs.
It's not just money saying, it's production time. It means he's got almost no vessels out on the map, which means he's not going to be removing things like Defilers and Lurkers off the board with Irradiate, so eventually Jaedong will get stronger and stronger. He needs to find critical damage with these dropships to make it worth it. He's basically gambling right now, and if the slot machine doesn't give him the 7s that he needs and he gets that jackpot, there's just no chance of recouping his losses right now. He's in a sunken cost fallacy situation. He's attempting to get into the main with these 2 dropships, do critical damage, but Jaedong is waiting with Defilers to respond to this, so it's not having the kind of potency that it needs to be valuable. He's got 4 bases worth of economy, so he has got something to fight with. He's got a decent fleet of vessels. He almost has the tools that he needs to close out this game, but Jaedong is fighting back very strong. A lot of Zergs would have fallen apart in these situations, but Jaedong playing out of his mind today.
Yeah, he's handling everything so smoothly, getting back into his main base with all of his units, being able to shut down these drops time and time again. Now, this is probably the weakest point in the defense of Jaedong right now. This natural is low on defenses here, just the 1 Defiler. Oh, he's just barely not able to get the Irradiate off there, so that vessel ends up falling with Irradiate energy. He will get the Dark Swarm, or get the Irradiate on that Defiler. Dark Swarm comes down to continue to hold that natural. Speed is leaning on Jaedong, still trying to find the victory, trying to find some way in. Tanks now at the front line, gonna start this pressure. I mean, this is the point when the tank transition is very strong. Bio tank against the Hydra Plague, the Hydra Defiler, is really, really strong, but that's a beautiful Plague. Really going to remove the threat from that natural. Can Speed make something happen over here at the bottom left?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. He is definitely making a good game of it, though. There is still a chance of Jaedong falling apart at any moment. And that's kind of the antithesis of this game right now, is that Speed is just hoping for Jaedong to make a mistake. But if Jaedong doesn't, Speed will slowly but surely be ground down to another beautiful plague from Jaedong as well. He has finally got these tanks brought to bear at this natural base location in the bottom left quadrant, though. There is definitely hope for Speed here, and there's no Defiler in sight as well, so he will kill some of these forces before one of them can come through a Denitus Canal and what have you to re-establish control of this natural. There is a window where Speed can do a lot of damage. Finally, the Defiler comes out and will be saving the day. Another dropship making its way downtown. There's a borrowed Zergling or something there on that horizontal axis at the very northern hemisphere, though. So if Jaedong was paying attention to the map, he would have seen it. But there's so much going on right now in defending that bottom left that I doubt he was paying attention to notice it until just now. And yeah, maybe this drop can actually do something finally. He's had a long attempt. Yeah, this is crazy. Why has he brought a tank into the main base? Like, what is happening? Why has he brought a tank in? What is even happening right now? Why did he bring a tank and an SCV in that drop?
Oh my goodness, Speed is crazy. He's throwing everything he can at the wall and just hoping something will stick. Tanks into the main base, bunkers being built up there, Speed continuing to lean on bottom left as this tank goes down, though. And Jaedong completely stabilizes once again. I think Speed is running out of gas. He's just, I mean, he's still keeping the lid on Jaedong. He's not letting him get out. He's not pressing the issue or, you know, doing damage to Speed. And as long as the Terran is on the aggressive, he still holds somewhat of an advantage. So Speed is just continuing to press on here. Finally, something slipping out on the map, though, for Jaedong. Few Lings and a Defiler coming along this bottom side.
I mean, Speed really is like the Gary Oldman right now of the StarCraft world, and the dropship pilot asking him, what do we send? And he just screams, everyone! And is trying to throw the kitchen sink at Jaedong and make something stick, but it just has been thwarted at every contingency. Jaedong's just really on top of everything right now, and I don't know if Speed can make this work. He's got two armies at two locations trying to apply pressure. Yeah, hoping that somehow Jaedong will fumble the ball at one of these locations. I just don't think it's going to happen. The Tyrant is just playing out of his mind today. And a real professional is Jaedong.
Jaedong doing the counterattack thing, finally going to go up here. With the Dark Swarm at center right and Lurkers here to catch the SCVs as they try to evacuate. Speed's really only other remaining mining base is going to be taken down. He's basically just mining from the mineral only at this point. Another dropship heading into the main, still being revealed by that one single burrowed Ling. That Ling, MVP in this game, has spotted like continuous dropships over and over again. Here comes this drop, going for the kill here in the main base. Looks like he's going to get the Evo chamber, diving on top of this natural 2. Not enough Marines though to punch through those last few Lurkers. The team matrix here, pretty sick, diving forward here on top of all of these Hydras, completely mined out in the main and natural. Now is Jaedong. No plague here available for Jaedong to actually finish off these Marines. They're standing strong against the Hydras, actually clearing up a lot of those Hydras. Can he back away? Paying attention, he does pull back. Speed still doing damage here in the main.
This is insane. Like he's expanded down to the bottom right to replace that fourth base that's now not mining, but Jaedong has a massive force that's making its way downtown to try and squash that base in the bottom right quadrant. He's come so close to breaking Jaedong so many times, but Jaedong's just been on top of everything at every turn. Another dropship down here in the bottom left, and it's just not gonna be enough, saying slowly but surely, Jaedong has just absolutely ground and pounded Speed out of this game, little by little. And with the death of this base here in the bottom right, Speed's chances are dwindling. Although Speed, another counterattack from him at the 6 o'clock, trying to kill that hatchery. Jaedong only 2 bases worth of economy. If somehow that hatchery at the 6 o'clock was to go down, that would be huge. Jaedong's trying to intercept and deny that hatchery from being killed. I think he will just barely save it with a few hundred HP. Some drones dying at that bottom left, but I don't think anything has really gone down there. Like, Jaedong's just everywhere, man. Like, he's saving everything. There are a few drones go down in transit to the 6 o'clock, but he has saved the hatchery critically and denied the 4th base from Speed. So the writing is on the wall now for the Terran, and those letters are about to fall, Sam.
He's floating the CC over towards 12 o'clock. Speed gonna re-expand and try to keep going in this game, but I think this army not long for this world. Ooh, the plague to finish everything off, and the big surround. This is probably the tap out moment as Speed loses everything. He's got barely any forces here to try and fight this back. Just 2 tanks in the middle of the map going up against all these Hydras. It's such a difficult proposition here to try and take on any of these small contingencies of Jaedong's army, not to mention the entirety of the bulk of his force, which is being brought to bear here for this final fight surrounding that last tank and crushing these final Marines. Speed is going to have to tap out, and although the Terrans have shown great and noble resilience in this series, they will eventually fall. Jaedong is going to take home that all-kill prize. 1,500,000 won is his, and well-deserved.
Yeah, definitely well-deserved. Probably will get the clapper from KCM as well. I mean, he's making those fans that predicted a Zerg victory not look quite as crazy, but it's all off Jaedong's back alone. Hero definitely in a massive slump. Queen not performing at his highest apex either. So Jaedong's really carried the torch in this week of KCM. I think the biggest shift was getting that free win against Best on Dominator. Really established the tempo and mojo. Being able to go up against Stork as well. Made short work of him. He's just had the stars align for a really strong week at KCM, and he keeps Zerg in dominant fashion as a result. I really do think this was a much more balanced week of KCM with the lineups. With Jaedong playing this good, is there anyone that can stop him?
I'm not so sure, Shun. He is looking fantastic right now. Kind of shocking with this type of skill, with this type of level we're seeing from Jaedong, that he's not in the ASL anymore, that he's been knocked out, is kind of crazy, just speaking to the level of that largest tournament. There it is, GG. We're waiting for a bit here for Speed to finally tap out, but there it is. He gives up, and Jaedong takes that all-kill prize. And there you have it. Zerg taking this first week of KCM. Jaedong, the special champion here, the gladiator, just going up against all these different players from the Protoss and Terran race, taking home those victories with flying colors. Terran really earning that 1 point, though, man. They put up such a good fight.
They really did. I actually thought they were looking like ever so slightly favorited in this week. Just looking at the lineups alone, I thought this was going to potentially be a Terran victory. So I'm not surprised to see that point on the board. They fought with such resiliency. Yeah, valiant efforts when they were really behind. Speed and Light especially. Fighting back strong no matter what the odds were. But I mean, you gotta take your hat off to Jaedong as well. Like, that's just some of the best Zerg play we've seen in a long time. He's slowly but surely becoming even more special than Sulky was in the KCM, at least, just with how dominant some of these performances were. Even Sulky was having a hard time getting this amount of all kills. Like, very quickly, Jaedong is going to be becoming one of the guys with the most all kills in the KCM at this rate.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the count on that, but you're right, Shun. A lot of all kills going to Jaedong lately. Just a testament to his form. Thank you guys so much for joining us here at the KCM Season 4 Week 1. We're really excited to be bringing you guys a fresh new season, and we've just opened up our own Patreon page for support. Guys, if you want to support what we do here, as well as what we do at the ASL and the SCSL, please go check it out. The link will be the first one in the description. Saiyan Shun Duocast at patreon.com. That's it, Shun. We're done here for week number 1. The finals of ASL is this weekend, though, guys. The 26th of October, the 25th if you're in North America. It's 2 hours earlier than it usually would be. So if it's too late for you guys usually, and you know you're not awake on the normal days of ASL, definitely check it out if you can. Come join us live, because that is going to be a night to remember.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. And there is actually going to be a bit of a clock change, at least for the Brits. I don't know about the rest of you guys. Our clocks are going back an hour, so I'll get at least 1 more hour of sleep than I was anticipating for that finals match, which I'm happy about, because that was a bit of an early riser for me. But yeah, if you guys can come check out that cast, we do that on superlive.com/SETVEN. We do all of those ASL casts live, and thank you so much for all of your support to that patron that Saiyan mentioned. It's really meant the world to both of us, and we look forward to seeing you guys join us in more of those ASL casts. We've got the finals now, so there's only 1 more chance for you guys to catch it live if you can, but we'd like to see you there.